I made an attempt to end it after a fight with my mom last night. Very Neil Perry coded, if you ask me. Neil Perry is a character I've always felt deep emotional connection with, especially because of the lack of being understood in his own household. It's not that Neil was getting abused by his parents, but he was suffocating because of the way he had grown up and the immense pile of expectations with it that had no clue of what Neil wanted for himself, and in all honesty never cared about it. And it's easy to do that because Neil has a tendency to go non-verbal in confrontations with his own family, which sounds an awful lot like me. Now, my family was never as set to the idea of making me pursue a certain type of career, but the silent expectations that are much too obvious weighed me down before I could even sprout wings of my own. And now I've only blamed myself for it till now. Even as I woke up today, I was thinking about how yesterday I was choosing to die in order to not speak, but why wouldn't I? I've never been a child who has wanted much. I only ever really wanted a sense of belonging and to be loved for who I truly was. I never got any of the two, so naturally, if you don't feel accepted and loved for who you are, then you pretend to play the part of someone which you think would receive these things that you've always yearned for but never gotten. Such a foolish dream. Played the part all my life and still never got what I had hoped for. Only continued to play the part in desperate hope that one day it will happen, and in continuing to tug at this foolish wish, I lost my sense of self and did not remember who I was anymore. But I remember now. I remember that I am the child who, as a kid, had learned to be content with the TV, my toys, and my imaginary friends because my parents didn't have enough time for me. I remember that I am that child who wished to go to school when I was home and wished to go home when I was in school, in my naive belief that something might have changed and I would finally belong somewhere. I am that child who was painfully aware that I was born an unwanted child to a loveless couple even when I was 8. I am that child whose father refused to speak to her when she got one bad grade and wouldn't give her any sort of attention or affection until she got a good grade again next time, even though she was only 9. I am that kid who was called selfish by my sister and my own mother for wanting to eat a bit more ice cream, even though it was my favorite thing to eat, and even though I was just 8. I am that child who was told by her mother that the actresses in the TV have slimmer thighs than me, so I should keep a check on my weight even though I was just 12 and I'd only started to not be underweight anymore. I am that child who was made fun of not only by my sister, but my own parents for taking an interest in things I wasn't naturally good at, while also simultaneously being ridiculed by them for not trying harder to become better at things that they wanted me to do, even if I wasn't interested in them and even if I was just 11. I am that child whose mother thought of as insane for choosing and feeling safer in playing indoors and with my toys and imaginary friends, was simultaneously declining to play any game that I would be interested in that could be played outside or with multiple players, even if I was just 6. I am that child who saw my sister get beat up because she angered my parents somehow, even if she didn't do much wrong. I am that child who saw my sister be ridiculed by my dad for not being smart enough and by my mother for not being slim enough, and I am that child who has seen her sister want to get away from this house as soon as she came of age to be able to do so, but she never left. I am that child who was told by her mother to go off myself right now if I was really struggling with those thoughts, instead of consoling me even if I was just 15. I am that child who had seen a father compare her to a sister every time he got drunk and make both of us feel bad about not being perfect, but then go ahead and boast about me as soon as we were in a public setting, even if I was just 10. I am that child who was told by her mother that she can hurt me out of Sorry. I am that child who was told by her mother that she can put me out of this world if she put me in it, and that I am a mad person, and that the bests of the household are better than me, that I should pack up my things and leave if I want to, that she can't handle me, and it would be easy for her to forget that she even had a child like me. I am that child who consoled myself to not attempt for 6 years because it would put my family into distress. But I'm not so sure anymore. But I remember how it felt like, squirming to breathe, as a voice in my head kept repeating that I don't want to die, and I want to live. So I will remember now, and I will protect that child, and protect that sense of self, before anything else, because that's the most important thing in the world. Now I choose to speak, and not die.